Hi everyone, it's Helen here and thank you for joining me today. Now today is our bonus video for my springtime series and I'm going to be showing you how to make this lovely little Easter box. It's got a lovely post box here and it's got the picket fence, and inside this post box I have managed to fit a Cadbury's cream egg. Well, it's a miniature one, so let's just pop that out. It opens both sides, so I'll be showing you how to make the post box in this video as well, and those close nicely. So these are this is a mini Cadbury's cream egg, and they come in a little packet just like that. It's in the shops. Hopefully you'll be able to get your hands on them. And I've used a free die set and stamp set to make this as well. So let's just quickly show you inside the box, and it's full of the same eggs. This box took about 2 packets, and I've just padded the bottom there with some white tissue paper. Okay, so let me show you the die set and the stamps. Okay, so these came free. Let's move these out of the way. These came free with Papercraft Essentials. That's issue 144, and the link will be down below if you'd like to order it. They do international postage as well. Okay, so this is an Easter themed stamp set and die. So here's the picket fence. That's quite a nice little handy die there to have, and you have some lovely Easter and spring themed stamps here as well, so that's really good value for money. So this one cost me £5.99, so excellent. Okay, so you're going to be needing, just to get you started, you're going to need 8 of these picket fences. So I've die cut mine out already onto some white cardstock. So let's get on with making the box first. Let's quickly move those aside. You're going to need 2 pieces of paper, pieces of card. This one measures 5.5 by 5.5, and this one measures 7 15/16 square. So if you cut your piece of paper down to 8 by 8, and then you take a 1/16 of an inch, which is a tiny slither off 2 sides, and that will make sure that when you have your lid on top, it will slide on top and it will be the correct size for that. So let's get the scoreboard out. Okay, so we're going to start with the lid first. That's the smaller one. We're going to score at 1 inch all the way around. Just manoeuvring my arm around this tripod leg here. Okay, so moving on to our base. So this is the larger one. So we're going to score at 2 1/4 all the way around. Don't worry about writing all these measurements down. They're going to be on my blog. The link will be down below, and that will take you directly to the project. All of my videos have their own blog page. Just drop my stylus on the floor. Okay, so that's it for the scoring. Okay, so now we need to fold on our score lines. Just grabbing my bone folder. Okay, so I like to fold my score lines with the valley on the underside and the mountain part of the score line. You can see that the raised part, that's the bit I fold on. It just prevents the paper from cracking. Just fold these as well. I'm just going to quickly put this box together. Okay, grab your scissors. Okay, I'm going to cut along the score line there, and I'm going to notch in this side and that side. I'm just going to go all the way around, and when I pull these out, I pull them downwards. If I pull them the other way, it may tear up there. Doesn't have to be a huge chunk. Okay, I'm just going to grab my fast fuse. This one's by Stampin' Up, and I love to use this for my box making. It's a very strong tape runner. I'm just going along there quite close to the score line, but not actually on it. Okay, now do exactly the same on the base. Okay, so when I'm sticking this one together, I'm going to put a line of tape runner down there and then just a little bit here as well, just so that the flaps don't flap around inside the box. And get this glued together, so you can make quite a few of these little boxes, even if you don't actually decorate the tops. You just need the boxes to put eggs in. You can make quite a few of these in one go, quite quickly. Okay, so there's our box now lid. Let's just see if it all fits together. And it does. Okay, so we're ready to go on to the picket fence now. So I've cut out 8 of these. And as you can see, just take some of this ribbon off. I've kind of lined up the top of the box here with this front, sorry, the first rung of the fence. So what I did was I just folded these down like so on all of them, so on 4 of them, because these will be our corner posts. And then I attached them all with glue. I've used Tombow. Tombow is my favourite wet adhesive. And all I did was I added a few dots here. It's got clogged up. Let's just take that off. There we go. Just like that. Okay, so Tombow is quite a strong glue, so this would be perfect for your paper crafting. And then I attached it with a very slight overlap of this side coming off the edge, because we're going to be going around the corners. Oops, I've done that a bit too low. Okay, I'm going to have this a little lower, I think. I've just decided. Because on this one here, this was my prototype, I'm thinking that perhaps my picket fence is a little too high and it kind of hides all the flowers, so I want those to be more visible. So I'm going to stick that on a little lower, and then I'm going to try and make it level as I go around. So let's do one more. Just add your glue. I'm also going to add a tiny bit of glue on these 2 notches here. There's going to be a slight overlap, just in case they meet. So yep, you'll get the distancing worked out as you go along. plus using the wet glue there's going to be some wiggle room as well, so oops. Okay, so I'm just going to add some glue to these ones here. And we're just going to continue going round until we have all the sides done, and we can meet again round this corner here. So I'm just going to quickly add this one, and then I'm going to carry on off camera. Just coming up to doing the last bit of the fence now. I need to try and tuck these little flaps in. There we go. Just going to hold that for a few moments. The Tombow glue does dry quite fast. Okay, so that's our picket fence done. Okay, so now we're going to move on to making our post box. Okay, so let's get on with the post box now. So I've got my little pieces here. Don't worry about writing these ones down. Everything will be on the blog post. Okay, so this will be our post. This is going to be the bendy lid. This one, these two are going to be our little flaps, and this one's going to be the base. Okay, so I've pre-stamped this already. I've used this hardwood stamp from Stamping Up just to get the post done. So we're going to need a scoring board. I'm going to use my mini scoring board because I'm using tiny pieces of paper now. So we need to score this one. So I've got it in portrait at the moment, and so we need to score. I just need to make sure I get my measurements right here. This measures 2 3/4 by 2 3/8, and in the portrait we score every ½ an inch. And then we turn it once, so it's now in landscape, and we score at ½ an inch. And we turn it round completely on its end, and then we score again at ½ an inch. There we go. So we're going to do some folding now. Use our bone folder as well. Okay, so this is in little sections, and I'll show you in a sec. Here we go. This little section here is shorter than these four, and that's going to be our flap that we attach our box together, just like that. So let's cut all the ends. Okay, so on the smaller tab, we're going to notch in just like that, and we're going to completely remove that section there. We don't need those. So it should look like this. Okay, and now we're going to trim all of our little flaps, just like that. Then I'm going to notch in each one. This is going to help our box that we're making just to fit together nicely. So I've left this one unnotched. This will be our last flap that we put on the top when we close the box. So I'm not going to notch that one. Okay, so there we go. Use our fast fuse again. Just going to attach that along there. So there is a trick. You place that just like that, and then you fold that down and press, and then you have your box like that. So it saves you having to try and line everything up. So next what we do is we find our flap that hasn't been notched, and we apply adhesive along that corner there. So I'm sticking with the fast fuse, and then we fold two side ones in, and then that one, and then we close it with that one there. So we do exactly the same on the other side. find the untrimmed flap, add your adhesive, fold the sides in, just making sure your box is square as you put it together. Okay, and there we go, there we have our post for our post box. Now moving on, we've got to do some more scoring now. Okay, so this is the longer piece, this is going to be our top, and just got to get the measurements right again. We score at 1/2 inch, check twice, score once. Same with your cutting, so it's another 1/2 inch, just like that. And fold those down. And then to help our card bend, we're going to use our bone folder again, and we're just going to help that curve. So you can use different colours of card to make different coloured post boxes. I'm just sticking with the neutral. Okay, so that's nice and curved, so we can now attach that to our base. We don't want extra bits stuck in there. Okay, so we stick that along there, just up to the score line, but not actually on it, so it has room to move around. And then we attach that along the bottom, just like that, just doing your best to line everything up. It's getting a little bit fiddly now because these things are quite small. Okay, so there's our post box almost done, and now moving on to the flaps. These are tiny. I'm going to rub these out actually because they're going to be seen. Okay, so now we need to score at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. So it should look like that. Again, 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Okay, and then I think we'll be alright without the bone fold. Now we can just fold those. And then we can glue them onto our post box. I'm going to use fast fuse, I think. So all we do is line it up just like so. And stick that down. And there we go. Same on the other side. I glued the wrong side, so we're just going to turn the fold them the other way. Oh no, I did do it the right way. I'm getting all muddled up now. Okay. And there we go. There's the top of our post box done. Now we can glue this onto here. So I'm going to be using Tombow for this. It's a strong glue, so as I said before. That should be enough there. And then what we do is take the flaps out again, so we can press, put our finger in there so we can help press this together. This glue does dry clear. So I'm just pressing quite firmly there, just for a few moments, just while the glue takes, and then I won't need to hold it anymore, and then the glue will set. Okay, so we're going to place that aside. And then we can move on with our grass. Okay, so I've cut out, and I've stamped and coloured in and cut out these flowers. Okay, so I've used this stamp here for those, and I've also used the hydrangea and this pot here, and I've snipped the grass section. So the grass section was attached to this the soil section here, so you can actually cut your photopolymer stamps as long as you don't actually cut any of the image that's going to be stamped. So I've prepped all of my pieces already. Here we go. You need to stamp 4 of these. If you're wondering what green I've used Cucumber Crush from Stampin' Up. And it's always best to use really good scissors when you cut these out. So these ones are also Stampin' Up scissors, and these are my absolute favourite snips for cutting out fussy details. So what I'm doing here is I'm just moving the piece of paper around and trying to keep my scissors in the same place and letting the cardstock doing the work. Okay, so I've got 4 of those, and let's just finish off my pot. I've got my hydrangea already done as well, so I'm just going to quickly show you what I did for that. I've used Cajun Craze. There we go. That's also Stampin' Up, and I've pressed it just like so into the lid. So I've now got a palette. So I've taken a paintbrush. I've got some water to the side. So I'm just going to quickly colour this in. Now the hydrangea is going to cover that top section, so I'm not going to be too worried about shading in there, but there is some shading here where the lines are, so that's kind of telling you where there's going to be a bit of shade and tone to the pot. So I'm just going to use just a few darker patches here just to create some dimension. Okay, I'm just going to set that off to dry. I think that's almost dry, so then I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to cut it out with a small white border around. As you can see, these scissors are really good. It's just like cutting through butter. Not that I've ever used scissors to cut butter, but that's the saying, isn't it? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use these 2 here uncut, and I'm going to cut these 2 in half. Okay, so before we can add all this lot to our box, I'm just going to quickly move those aside. I'm just going to stick the post box on now. It's still setting here, so if we let all this dry together, we can then do it all in the right stages. So I'm just adding some more Tombow here. I'm going to take the lid off, actually, it's going to help. Okay, so you need to decide for yourself where you want your post box. I want mine at an angle in the middle. I'm just going to pop that on there. I may not press that down if I move it now. Okay, so I'm going to leave that as it is, and I'm going to move that aside. And now I'm going to leave it for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I think this it's not fully set, but it's pretty much set. So now we can get on with the fun part now of putting everything together. Okay, so I'm going to do the grass first. I'm going to take my long bits, and I'm going to put my grass just off the side like that on the front, and then I'm going to glue this longer one towards the back, and I'm going to stagger it so it goes off the edge there. So I'm just going to add a bit of glue. Back with the Tombow again. just making a mental note here of where I need to add the glue, so I just need to add it to this section here. Oops, now I need it on the front. Okay, so I have those two there. I'm going to decorate those before I add any other layers in, because then the other layers can kind of get in the way when you're trying to add the flowers. So let's stick this hydrangea together. Just going to add some more glue here. Try and pick that up. There we go, and I'm going to stick that just there next to the post box. So I need some more glue on the back. Whoops. There we go. So now we need to get these little ones in. There's nothing to stick them to, so we're going to have to make some little stands. So I've got some of my offcuts here from when I cut my boxes. So I'm just going to snip these like so. I'm going to need 4 of those. No measurements here, just rough sizes. And then I'm going to make a little fold. So I'm going to have a smaller end and a longer end. And that's going to hold our grass up, so just do that to all 4 of them. And then what we do is we just stick them on the grass, just at the back there. So I have my grass upside down and my fold like that, and we're just meeting them in the middle. Okay, so now what you need to do is do that to all 4 of them. Okay, so I've stuck all those on all 4 of them, and now we're ready to get those glued down into our box. So again, I've kind of just like staggered them around. Just using more glue there. Just going to stick that there. That one on there. So basically it is one of those boxes where you need to be looking at it from the front, unless you want to try and decorate the back as well. So it's mostly just going to be from just looking from one angle. Okay, there's the last bit of grass. It's getting a bit fiddly now. There we go. Okay, that's all our grass put in. And now we can add our flowers. So these are the tulips and the daffodils. So I'm just going to add the glue to the back. You can use tweezers if craft tweezers, if that's going to make you a bit more accurate. So there's the tulip on. I need to put that a bit lower down, I think. We have a daffodil, another tulip. Daffodil at the back. Actually, I might pair up this daffodil with a tulip. Okay, I'm going to grab a baby white now. One thing you need to do is when you're working with wet glue is to always try and keep your fingers clean and free from glue. Okay, so we're practically on the home run now, so that's our lid done. So we now need to do our sentiment for our post, which I've chosen Happy Easter. So you can go along with any theme you want here. There's birthday here as well. So I've chosen Happy Easter. Now these came all stuck together, but I've trimmed them down. I've cut in between the images so they will still stamp correctly. So what I like to do is I like to lay them out as I want them to appear. Just like that. I get my block. And that's exactly how I want it. So I've got an offcut here of white cardstock. Now this is Stampin' Up! Whisper White, and it's absolutely perfect base for stamping your images. It's very smooth. Okay, so I'm using some archival ink here. You can use any colour you want. Okay, I'm leaving a little section there free. That's going to be our little post where the flag attaches to. So now we're going to make like a little tail in our flag. So to do that, you just snip through the middle and go from corner to the centre, just like that. And just like that, there we go. And now I've got that size, it's all cut down, I can then stamp the other side because it's going to be double-sided. Okay, so using the same offcut that we used for the grass, I can then make my post. How much? I can't remember how much I made that one. I think it was 2 inches, just over 2 inches. I'm just going to use my grid mat here. Okay, and then I just glued it just off centre, just like so. Bit of glue. Just line those up. Okay, and there we have our flag for our post box. So now we're going to add that on. So you can decide which side you want it on and at which angle. So I want mine to go just like that. So add your glue. It's getting fiddly now. And then what we do is we stick that on the side and then just hold it in place. There we go. And if you really do want it to move, you can actually use a brad. Just make a small hole there and then you can move it around. Okay, so if you do have trouble getting your flaps to stay in, you can just squeeze it ever so slightly without actually creasing the cardstock. And that should make it a lot easier for your flaps to stay in place. Okay, so all you've got to do now is put chocolates in your box and then add a ribbon around the side, just like that. I've gone a little bit off there, so a ribbon round here will hide any mistakes. So I'll show you the ribbon I used. I used Stampin' Up! Organza, so it's absolutely lovely ribbon here for going round the edges. Another ribbon would look nice, would be a yellow ribbon or a nice Easter themed ribbon as well. Okay, I won't tie that on there. I'll make sure that it's tied nicely for the photographs, but I don't think you want to watch me trying to struggle getting the ribbon on. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining me on today's bonus video. If you did actually miss any of my other springtime episodes, please do go to my YouTube channel, and there's a playlist there labelled Springtime Series, and you can catch up on all the other episodes there. And each project is going to have a blog page as well dedicated to it, so you can find out all the information for each project on there, including the dimensions. So I just want to wish you guys a happy Easter. There will be some more Easter projects coming along before the Easter days, so please do join me for those. If you haven't popped along to my website, please do pop along there. I do post other projects on there that don't actually make it onto the YouTube channel, so I do share a lot of handmade cards with all the instructions and photographs and dimensions as well, and everything. So yes, please do pop along there and have a browse around, and I'll see you in my next video.